Yo, this is Dyson Knight, and we are live on the 53rd episode of the Sup'm Show. What's up, Doc?
Sir, how are you today?
I'm fantastic. How
All
about
right.
you? You still
Hey,
shifting
man,
around? Anyway,
I
goodbye. Let me start the
still
show.
kicking
I
around,
come
still
back.
kicking around.
Coming back to you. let me say it a word or two. Hold on one second. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is the 53rd episode. I understand that there's 52 weeks in a year, so the 53rd would mean that this is our anniversary. Happy anniversary, bro.
Hey, happy anniversary, man. And it's been great. We've been through some trials and some ups and downs, but yeah,
From
man, I think it's been an awesome ride.
from where the show started to where it is now has been a journey, and that's leads us straight into our topic for today, which is educating your teens about sex and drugs. Not the sex and drugs part, but just growing up, growing through the times. And on this episode, as we wait for the man, Juan Knowles of Knowles Wood Flooring, I'd like to introduce our special guest who will be helping us out and hopefully providing a side that isn't often covered or ventured into on the show, because she is a woman and we three men, we be having a time on the show. So without further ado, the beautiful Ans. How you doing?
Welcome.
Welcome.
Hey, good. Can you hear me okay, Dyson?
I can. I can hear you fine.
How
So
you doing,
Ans,
Lance? You good?
Hi, good. I am good, guys. Yes.
Ans has been a frequent fan and watcher of the Sup'm Show, and she's
Yes.
been asking to come on, and she always has a lot to say in the comments. So I figured, hey, it'd be even better for us to put a face to the knowledge and information that she's been sharing with the Sup'm Show. And you are a parent, yes, Sans?
Yes, I am a parent of four.
A parent of four. All right, you trying to run
Four.
competition with me?
Wow.
Trying to catch up.
At many different stages. I feel like I have one kid for each stage.
Okay.
Awesome. And final parent of this four-parent show, the man with the wood plan.
The myth and the legend.
Hold on, you forgot the myth, the legend. JP knows what up.
JP Nodes in the building. All right, so we four strong on this anniversary. Happy anniversary, Juan.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's how we doing it. I don't know if y'all noticed, but I promised a few slight changes to the show on our anniversary. And if you looked up there in the top right corner, might be in your top left, you see we got our own little logo going on there. Yeah.
Hey, that look kind of cute.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. The
So
official man.
we official.
I feel all fruitful inside because of that.
All right, so let's dig into the show. Now, I purposefully did not venture into, I wouldn't say educating myself, but I didn't want the regular um, a textbook approach to sex and drugs and teaching your children. I'm sure a few of you may have done so, but I purposefully did not because I want to put myself in a position, not that I haven't read books on parenting, I have, sorry, but I wanted to put myself in a position where, as the common man, the common woman, the common parent, the first parent, or even the experienced parent, would walk into this stage of having a teenage child, and that teenage child being beginning to adventure into the world on their own, and what type of things I would come up with, not going to the library or not doing a Google search on how to parent a child, and what is it that I would want from my own self experience for my child to know and to hopefully understand and to equip themselves the knowledge to equip themselves to face the world. Now, with that said, who is the most experienced as far as education or whatnot on sex and drugs in our grouping? Me? All right, cool. So
Who
I would
has the
like.
oldest child?
It depends.
I'm,
Who has the
so
oldest child?
I
Who
believe
else?
I
How old
do.
is your oldest, Dyson?
22.
Yeah.
I win?
You
You
win.
win.
How old is your oldest? Oh,
22. So I'll
Because
start.
we have a lot of aspects here. I mean, I have
you
a
win. You
girl,
win
and
that
my
one.
daughter is just entering her teen years.
Just entering.
Just
Okay.
entering.
Well then, since I think you should be the one to kick us off because you would be the most passionate about knowing exactly what to express to your daughter. What is it that you want your teenage daughter in this case, not her
Nice,
in
Dyson.
particular.
Nice. Throw it back to him. Nice. I
Yeah,
like
man.
that.
Not her in particular, but teenage women, teenage girls to know in general, based on your own, kind of like position right now.
So I'm wearing this shirt because my daughter calls me Batman, right? So I take that to mean that she sees me as somebody strong, somebody intelligent, who's a hero, who's her hero. I'm assuming,
Right?
right? Um, so I always try as much as possible to I don't say logically, but I always want to try to make sure that she not just tell her don't do this. I want her to understand why she shouldn't do it. What are the consequences if you happen to do it? What to do, how the different ways you're going to be approached about doing it. Like and speaking specifically about sex, because boys get clever with they get more clever with every generation, and we got all kind of technology and stuff available. So we got all type of new ways that we probably don't even know about because we've never had to do it to entice girls to uh be more what's the word? Anyway, to entice girls.
Swag.
Let
Yeah.
me leave it there. To entice girls. All
Swing
right.
them.
To get in their head. We got social media and all type of other pressures now to use on them, right? So
Right.
what I try to get her to do is to one recognize who are persons of value and who are not. You know what I mean? Try to get her to understand what type of persons or recognize a person that is adding value to her life and or trying to add value, and a person who's just trying to do something with you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Just straight up.
So,
And unfortunately, that's going to be 80% to 90% of boys right now. And I didn't say it like that, but what I say to her
you feel
was,
you should? Do you feel as though you should say it to her like that? Like it's gonna be about 80%?
I think I should.
Yeah.
I think I should. I mean, it's just a reality. We talk and next week. I think we're talking about how not to be a mama's boy. Like we're going back with the man next week.
Right.
But it's just the truth is just the truth. And a teen boy who's just been exposed to testosterone is a new type of beast. Is a I know, speaking from my own experience and being just quite honest, he's some horny bastards.
Yeah.
And a lot of times, if that goes unchecked, which most of the times it does, it goes unchecked. And if you haven't been a little boy who's been exposed to hormones like testosterone, it's hard to understand. So that's why the mother's approach and the father's input is both very important, in my opinion. You gotta
Yeah.
have in best situations, you have both.
But what
So I try to
exactly do
be
you say?
real.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just saying, I just try to be real and let her know that. Listen,
Real
guys, for
with
the
what
most part,
though?
real about that guys for kids, teen boys for the most part, just trying to touch you, kiss you, feel you, have sex with you, whatever. That's what they're trying to do. That's it.
Right. Okay. So how is it? What is it that you? How is it? Does she have to wait to be touched in order to know that that's what's the mission, or is there something that you can tell her that like to watch for? I think maybe Ans would want to chime in on that part on that question. Like, is there something that women should know, like young girls should know? Like, how do you? Is it possible for them to be able to see it before it happens?
I'll start by saying I think the first misconception is that as kids get older, that only boys have these hormones that make them want to try things
Good
with men,
point.
Good point.
because that's not the case. Girls do too. Um,
Girls be trying
but
to swing. So girls try to swing boys too.
absolutely,
Okay. Okay.
absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, from my own experience, sometimes I randomly go through my son's phone. Um, and I mean, with him there, if he reacts, I'm definitely going through it. If he doesn't react, I give it back, But there was this one time, and he was talking to this girl, and she was asking him to send her pictures. And he was like, no. And I mean, I was just taken back. Wow, she's a little bit fast.
Which age bracket
Oh,
is this?
this 15.
Okay.
They were both 15 years old,
Okay.
years old. So my
Hmm.
15-year-old is the older one. But and my girl who's right below him, she's 12. And we have this conversation with them all the time. I mean, we ask them how they feel about sex, and and it's, I mean, open, very open. They can ask us anything. We can talk about anything. Um, because I always try to think about what was it like when I was their age. What
Right.
things did I already know at 12? I mean, I had already been exposed to what pornography was at 11. So I would be naive to think that my 12-year-old, like the other kids at school aren't talking about anything,
Hmm.
Yeah.
So we talk about what do they think, about sex. What do they think the right time for sex is? Before I put my opinions out there, I always like them to tell me what they think, and tell them that this is a safe space. And then I allow them to ask me questions, uncensored. Whatever they ask, I tell them,
All
about
right.
my own experiences.
All right. So check this out. This safe space
Yes.
thing now. Let me bring one in on this. And also I like the air from Batman. This safe space provided for children to tell you anything. Now I don't know if that's easier for a mother to endure, or maybe it's based on a mother son relationship versus a mother daughter, or you know that dynamic. Maybe it's which child it is. But for you now, and you have a daughter just a little bit younger than my
I
17
have
year old.
I have two daughters.
Right, right. So, how do you feel about providing a safe space for them to tell you anything? And is there a line that you would draw when it'd be like, "Whoa, is that what you thinking? Whoa, is that what you doing?"
No, it's no line I would draw because if they don't feel comfortable coming to me about it, they're going to get it from somewhere else. That's a guarantee. And the risk that you run when they get it from someone else, perhaps they get the wrong information about what they're trying to find out. All right. So, but for me, my method was a little different than perhaps what Kent was. For me, there's no way to prepare your daughter or your son for that talk.
No.
It's a hands-on type of thing. The only thing you can do is hope, that the qualities you instilled in them from young, that they keep those qualities, and when they come upon that situation, they, apply it, properly. Because we all know there's some slick women out there and there's some slick men out there,
Wow.
and you can't prepare nobody for what may happen because what you may say may be a completely different situation, but they're in. Plus, now is the peer pressure of friends and social media. When
Right.
we came up, it was totally different. You know what I'm saying? We may have had, peer pressure about certain things, but those are mostly from friends and the company you keep. Now you turn on the TV, there's peer pressure. You go to social media, there's peer pressure. On
Yep.
YouTube, there's social media. Commercials. So I gotta understand. Your kids spend more time on that stuff than they do in the conversation with you
Right.
as a parent. So, in my opinion, the only thing you can do is educate them the best you can and hope and wish when they face that situation, they know what to do and know how to handle it.
Yeah. Yeah, I can totally agree with all of that. So, Batman, you don't strike me as the type of that has a safe space. For anybody to
I'm gonna
talk.
be full disclosure. Full disclosure. Now, when I say I've been trying to get her to understand some of the young male psychology, we haven't officially had the talk.
Okay.
We haven't had it yet. All
Okay.
right, she's 13. We haven't directly had that talk. I don't know. I'm not. I've been practicing a bit. Why
Good.
you laugh? It's not
No,
funny.
that's good. That's good. That's good.
It's not
Trust me, that's
funny.
good. Get in the mirror.
It's not funny because no, because I have to like Warren said, I have to be prepared
Yeah.
Yeah.
for whatever. I don't know what's going to come out of my mouth, right? And then who knows? I might be behind the eight ball. I could be well behind the eight ball because I remember a 13-year-old that I used to date,
Mm.
and my daughter's now 13,
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
and they just happen to went to the same school.
Mm.
So that scares the bejesus out of me, right? So I don't know what's going to come out of her mouth. Nevertheless,
Uh-huh.
the safe space thing is difficult.
Oh boy.
It is difficult.
Real
It's
talk.
difficult
That's real talk.
because
Yeah.
because um, you want to preserve as much as reality. You have to let reality set in. I sound like a hypocrite right now because I was just telling my wife the other day how we gotta let go, right? But but that isn't easy. That is not easy by
It's not
any.
supposed to be.
That's not easy,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. I don't know. Juan seems to have done a decent job with it,
It was
but
easy. It was easy for me.
Yeah, it was
It was
easy.
yeah,
very easy for me. Go ahead, Ken.
I want to preserve some degree of innocence, but not only innocence, right? Forget innocence. I just don't want it to have a bad experience. I don't want it to make the wrong choice, and I wanted to stay focused on her goals.
Yeah.
I don't want her to not have a boyfriend or not get have relationships and stuff like that. She's had little boyfriends here and there.
Right.
One I've liked, and the rest of them could go to hell. So I mean, I'm okay. I'm kind of comfortable with having little boyfriends. But now she's at the age where, and she's in a place where 'cause she's in school in the States now. So she's in a place where not just media one was talking about like commercials and stuff, but dude, even the Disney like TV shows. I was watching a Disney TV show that my daughter watches, and these teens were implying that they're gonna make out like in a Disney
Wow.
show. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like it's not just how widespread it is, but it's now how normal and how casual it is now.
Right.
Now
Yeah,
we're the weird parents. We're the uncool parents now. Could you believe that? We're the
I
weird
believe it.
parents. We're the ones who are not cool.
Wow.
So that to me that's crazy and it's scary.
So let me
I'm
let,
not mad.
let me switch gears on the sex topic just for a quick second. With one of the things I would want my sons and daughters to understand about sex. And let me just brush over the of courses, which is of course you want to look out for STIs and STDs, and you want to be prepared for heartbreak, and don't lose yourself, don't stay in depression, these type normal things that you would have to teach you what intercourse is like, what is about, how to protect yourself, condoms, all of those good things that come in the textbook. What wasn't said to me when my dad, at my tender age of probably 23, and he didn't see any children coming from me, he was like, it ain't a lot of nights around here.
go make a few.
Right? Right? What he didn't tell me along with that was our sex talk right there. It ain't a lot of nights around here. But, but, but what he didn't tell me, and this is something that I want young men to understand in particularly, you we said this many times. Women hold the keys to sex. What that means is that you cannot get it. You cannot take it from them unless it is given to you. Okay? There's no negotiation on that point. That's
Right.
the way it is. No means no. I don't care how far you go. Right?
Hmm.
And you put. But what you have to understand is that The minute you, and I can say it raw, the minute you bust, that's it for how much control you have over the situation.
Right.
You have absolutely no control after you bust. That means if she is to get pregnant, you could have a conversation about whether or not you're gonna have this child together, but the end choice is not yours. Young men, so bullying this girl, putting it through all type of, I guess, it's bullying to try to get her to terminate, trying to persuade her not to. I mean, you have the conversations, but you have to respect that decision. And after the decision is made, you have responsibilities, whether you wanted the child or not.
And
Yeah.
Dyson, to piggyback off of that, that's one of the main reasons why with my kids, when we talk about sex, I lead by telling them sex was designed for having babies.
Yeah.
So until you're in a position where even if it's an accident that's okay, until you're prepared for that, you should try not to do it. That's
Yeah.
not me saying, oh, you have to be married. I'm not going to sit in that delusion that that's what the reality is going to be. But because that's what sex was intended for, I'm not going to say that it's not enjoyable. I'm not going to say that it's not pleasurable. But until you're in a position where if an oops happens and it's
Hmm.
fine, then try to refrain.
Yep.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And off of that, and added on to what I'm saying, the other part of that on the flip side for the young women, and maybe you can, I'll throw it back to you, Ants.
Hmm.
Baby don't keep no man.
No.
They do not. They do not.
It does the opposite.
And and you know what? When we have these talks, I don't separate them because I don't feel, I know the world feels like there's a double standard, but we have them straight out. Baby hugs the 15-year-old son, the 12-year-old daughter, and I told my son, for him, I don't want him to be in a situation where he's, has a baby mama, and he's on child support and all these other things, you know. And I've told my daughter, and you say you want to be a cardiothoracic surgeon. Children get in the way of that.
Yeah.
Like,
Yep.
this is what you have as a goal. And I know you guys they probably look at me like, Mom, well, you had TJ when you were 18 and you're successful and you're fine. But that's not always the story.
Yep.
But I also had to tell them, even though I made it look easier, it was hard.
What were some of those hardships?
Oh gosh, some of the hardships. I
Let's let.
think I and it's interesting because the pregnancy of my 15-year-old son is also a story that I shared with my children to learn from.
Wow.
Because I told them I wish my parents were transparent with me. Because if they were, I would have known that pulling out doesn't work 100%.
Hold on. What do you mean transparent?
She just gave a demonstration.
No,
I
I
mean,
get.
an
Okay.
example.
An example, because no one ever talked about that. No one
So
ever
be
said,
raw. Be just.
yes, yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'll just pull out. Yeah, okay. No. And the interesting thing is, when I'm talking to my son about this, he's like, Mom, you fell for that? I'm like, excuse me. We have these conversations, so you know better. No one had these talks with me. So I
Yeah.
went for it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I guess that makes sense. You know what I mean? So I was in school. I was in my second semester of college when I got pregnant with my son. So immediately I had to stop.
Yeah. Wow.
I had to stop. And then I married their father because my dad, and you know what? This is where Bahamian culture and American culture kind of came to a clash because my
Mm-hmm.
husband was American. And I remembered being 18 years old, sitting up in his parents' house, and my dad's like, okay, you're going to marry her, right? And I'm sitting there like, wait, what?
Woo.
Wait a minute. This is going really fast.
Woo. All right. Mm-hmm.
So it came with a lot of drawbacks because now I'm being married to someone that I didn't even think that far in the future of my husband, you know? So it was a lot. It was a lot of sacrifices. Yes, I eventually went back to school, but even still, because my ex-husband didn't want me to go back to school, I had to do it all on my own. It was
Wow.
like being a single parent with two little kids.
Yeah.
Now, if I had just not done that and went to school, I would have probably been an obstetrician by now because that's what I was going to school for.
Yep.
But
So
there was a big sidetrack. There were sacrifices, you
yeah,
know?
so children having kids really changes the dynamic of the
Yes, it does.
direction of your life, or the tempo at
Absolutely.
which your movement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One, how do you feel? Because you're in the U.S. now too.
Hmm.
How do you feel about shotgun weddings? Because I mean, young men and young women, I'm not sure how well they would I take it kind of like listen to their parents in this day and age,
Hmm.
to have someone say, well, y'all have to get married now, and they actually, turn around and be obedient to that. How do you feel about the whole concept of shotgun weddings? And is that something that you would want to say to your daughter, or
No,
even, yeah,
no, no.
why not?
Because I don't want to be the one for her. I don't want to be the one to force a situation that's not naturally, there.
Is this
In the
gentle
shotgun,
parenting?
pardon me?
Is this gentle parenting that you're
No,
exercising here?
this is whoop your ass if you fuck up parenting, right?
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say is that I don't want to force it. Listen, if the love is not there naturally between two individuals, and you want to force a situation, that's gonna end regardless, and it's gonna end poorly. And perhaps when you do the whole shotgun wedding, you may get a few more kids out of that situation. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And then all to happen in the end that it don't last. You got five kids now out of a situation that you initially forced.
Right.
Okay, now you got all types of issues going on. No, 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 no. People
That's
make
crazy.
mistakes,
Yeah.
and you'll be surprised, even in this day and age, a lot of people that lack basic sex education, bro. You know what?
So,
I'll just be right out with it. People don't like to use condoms, period. I don't care who you
yeah.
are. And you'll be surprised the amount of females will let you hit it raw.
Put us on game with some of the and answer. You could just shake your head yes or no
Okay.
if any of what is said is true or false. But what are some of the things you've heard from women to get you to remove your protection?
In my younger years,
Yeah.
I'm allergic to latex.
Okay, that's a yes. That's a yes. That's a yes from Ann. So that's one way gals is
Okay.
swing is swing these
Um,
dudes.
I'm turned on. I'm turned on without the condom. It is a better sensation. Feels better.
Mhm.
You know, my tubes are tied.
Wow.
Oh.
Oh, that's a
I
whoa.
can't get pregnant.
Oh.
Um,
Oh. Mm-hmm.
I just been tested for STDs, so you have nothing to worry about.
Aunt, you shaking your head? Yes or no?
Oh.
Do you sound
Now,
familiar?
so the only thing I'll say on the been tested for STDs, I've actually had a guy who said that in my
Mhm.
past. And I'm like, okay, you've been tested, great. So when can we go
Wow. Yeah. Right.
together?
Exactly.
Because no. But people say that stuff. People
Yeah,
say that stuff.
yeah. The
They
number
do.
one thing people say though is the I'm allergic to latex. That you hear that. Listen, that's probably been going on since my dad was a
Yeah.
young pretty gentleman like myself. So you know,
So we gotta get into drugs at some point, and I think drugs will be a shorter conversation. But um, mistakes, doc, mistakes. How do we as parents? How does Batman, as the guardian of Robin, who he had to
right.
fire at one point, handle mistakes? Because I believe when Robin made his big mistake, he Batman kind of like fired him, didn't he? Like he couldn't be Robin anymore, something like that. But anyway, yeah. Mistakes. When
Well,
our child makes a
he
mistake.
he he fired him when Robin directly disobeyed him. But at the same time, children will always disobey you. I mean, like that's kind of their function almost, right? They want to stay. It's hard for children to 100% obey parents because if they did, they would live the most mundane and boring life ever, right? So
Yeah.
I understand that because I had parents. I had fairly strict parents, and so I don't want my daughter to be the uncool kid. I don't want her to be, the kid that doesn't socialize or doesn't know how to handle social situations. She's already attractive, so people want to and then she's an athlete. She's a superb athlete. People want to be around her. People want her around, and so I don't want her to feel locked off. But when mistakes happen, though, um, my approach is trying to get her to understand her thought process, and that may be a losing battle. A lot of times it is, but I hope that things I say to her now will come back to her later.
Yeah.
Even if she don't
Yeah.
get it now, she'll get it later. There's stuff my dad said to me at 14 I didn't get till a few years ago. I didn't
Yeah.
understand what he was saying. So so I hope that the things I'm saying to her now, at some point it gets through, even if it doesn't get through right now. But I want her to at least practice analyzing her action and her mistake, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's not always easy in the heat of the moment. So what I usually do is I stand back and I let her mom, because her mom is, she goes to 100 miles an hour in 1 second
Mm-hmm.
with the mistake thing. So
Yeah.
I'll let her, you know, not be the bad guy, but I'll let her row and make you
You
feel
trying
silly.
so you trying to say you the gentle parent of the two?
No, no, no. I'm not the gentle parent. I'm the good parent, but I'm not the gentle parent, but I'm a good parent. You know what I mean? So I'm not gentle because both my kids know that I would risk killing you. So they both need to, they understand that, right? At the same time, appreciate me being calm right now because the best thing I can do for you is be calm. That's the best thing I can do for you.
Yeah.
So let me be calm. Let your mom, because when I get angry, your mom will be calm. But
Right.
your mom is gonna be the one to save you when I get angry.
Right.
You understand what I mean? So I let her get angry and I let her handle all that stuff. Let her take, and then I keep myself calm. And then I try to talk to her. Okay, so tell me what happened. Why did you think this? Why did you think this made sense? Okay, so you see what happened, right? So you could have done this. You could have gone this way or this way. And from this decision comes this branch of decisions, and then from that branch of decisions comes the next branch of decisions. So I try to get her to see things that way as much as possible. Try to get her to anticipate and rationally look at a process. Okay, if I do this, this could happen, this could happen, and this could happen. But if I don't do it, then this could happen, this could happen, this could happen. And that's a little
Hang on.
dreamy. That's a little
Hang.
dreamy, but that's what I try to do as much as possible. I try not to shout and scream.
But you keep saying this and that. I want some real life scenarios. So we were talking about having sex, getting pregnant. I mean, let me ask this question. What is the worst case scenario in either one of your opinions? Like, who wants to take this?
Me.
Worst.
Worst,
Okay, here we go. Worst case
Worst
scenario.
worst
Batman.
case scenario for me, it's plain and simple. My daughter gets pregnant. She's 13.
Mm-hmm.
She's in ninth grade.
Mm-hmm.
She's pursuing a sports career. She's actively pursuing a sports career.
Mm-hmm.
Parents have made a lot of sacrifice to getting her where she is right now to pursue this career.
yeah.
And then she gets pregnant. If she gets pregnant, worst case scenario, she gets pregnant and that throws everything off. Like everything is done if she gets pregnant. She can't be the athlete no more. It's pretty much done, right? And her sport is one where it's not a 30-year career. Her sport is like a
Yeah.
10 to 15-year career at the most,
Yeah.
right? Gymnastics we're talking about.
Yeah.
So most gymnasts are at the Olympics by 16, 17, they're at the Olympics.
Yeah.
My daughter's
Yeah.
13, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm saying she doesn't have time to waste. And
Yeah.
her time is extremely precious. So she
Oh.
has so a year of pregnancy or so, a year or so of pregnancy. That's it.
But we know it don't stop there. You have responsibilities to being a mom after you've had a child. So, Ans, I mean, like, what what does a daughter need in order to not get caught in that trap? And if caught in the trap, then what does the daughter need in post?
So to try to avoid it, I think the daughter needs a open-minded parent. I mean, I know my daughter has a crush, and sometimes she just kicks back and freely talks to me about that crush. And I feel like I'm happy that she feels comfortable talking to me about it,
Right?
and we bounce questions around and things around, so I would like to hope that because we have this open dialogue and she feels so comfortable and so at ease, that she also heeds to the advice that I drop in there, with some of our regular conversations. um and in the event, God forbid, in post, I would just try to not. So I would try to be what I wanted when it happened to me. Um, I was cut off. I was told if I didn't drop everything and move back to the Bahamas, that I would be cut off. And sure enough, went outside one day, my SUV was gone. I mean, cut off. I mean,
Wow.
cut off completely. So I would try to be incredibly supportive of her. Yes, it's going to stay. Yes, it's going to be hard, but okay, you're here now. Here's what we're doing. I mean, I feel like at that point, there's no point in scolding. There's no point. It's not going to change anything.
Exactly.
Your reaction is only going to add on to what this kid is probably already feeling.
Yeah.
You know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, and that's just being very real about it. Is it a situation we want? No, it's not. But then if it happens, then it's like, okay, how would I want my parent, or how would I want someone to react to me? And I mean, I can only speak on it because I lived it, you know, unfortunately. But I think just trying to be open, calm, that doesn't mean you can't go in the bathroom and lose it, you know, but try to be a sense of, okay, this is my safe space,
Right.
you know?
I feel you. So
Yeah.
so here's another angle that I wanted to bring up to young, well, teenagers.
Hmm.
One, you babysitting any children?
No.
Hey, that's real talk.
No.
That's real talk.
Listen, let
That's
me let me let me
that's real
let me tell
talk.
you let me tell you what my plans are. Right.
Oh
Well,
my God.
for my oldest daughter, she got a full scholarship, everything paid for one of the top colleges here in the U.S. So that's room and board taken care of, meals, the works. And she did all of this on her own accord. I didn't have to step in. Her mom didn't have to step in, not one time.
Wow.
She researched it, got grants, everything. So I would hate
Nice.
for her to F that all up,
Right.
on behalf of whatever. So as far as when I talk to my daughter, that's my oldest one that's 19 right now, I'm as open as possible
Yes.
I
Yeah.
can with her.
Yes.
And her dad used to run them streets when it comes to these female side here. You could ask Ken, right? He knows.
So I hope
So,
you tell her about that too.
guess what? Who better than
Right.
to put her up on game with
Yes.
these young men can potentially run on you? Now I understand the game changed here and there, but it's pretty much still the
Same.
same, you know, concept.
Hmm.
So, for me, I just constantly remind her that, listen, don't forget the goal, the end goal.
Yes.
Don't forget the reason why you're here. You're not here to be the cool kid. You're not here to make friends. You're not here to hang out. You're not here to party. But at the same time, who am I kidding? She has her own apartment all the way up in Gainesville. That's 6 hours away from me. So if
So,
she choose, I'm sorry.
question for you.
Go ahead.
Have you guys talked about birth control?
Absolutely.
Okay, good.
And my daughter, my oldest daughter, has a boyfriend. She has a boyfriend now going on 3 years. The same guy.
Okay.
So there's nothing in the back of my mind. You know, I'm down. He can drive up there and do whatever he wants with her. I don't have no way of knowing that.
Right.
So that's when reality sets in. So
Yeah.
this is why I'm saying at some point you have to let go.
Yeah.
You don't want these things to happen, but it's going to happen regardless. All you can do is hope that the qualities and morals you instilled in them when they were in your household, they carry that along with them into the real world. That's all you can do.
What? That's just quickly touch the emotional side of sex
So hold on. So
and
why you put the screen on me when you say emotional side? Why you, why
because
you, why you, why you put the
because
screen on Batman?
Oh, that's
because
why I laughed just now.
because you are because you are you are at that point you are at that you are at
Oh,
that point
boy.
you, my brother, you're at that point now where your oldest child is into that realm of the utmost discomfort for her father.
Hey,
So
hey, Ken,
you
he
are
didn't
very
even get the
emotional.
emotional word out first
I
before
know,
you put
right?
your picture up there.
So so listen, I mean, but okay, so
Damn right, Ruckus, you're damn right.
I'll lead it in by saying that sex is a physical act, and you don't recognize or you don't see the emotional connection in it,
Mm-hmm.
and that emotional connection is difficult. It's the having sex literally makes you feel, and I think it's supposed to do this. It makes you feel as though you are in love, or let me put it to you like this: for men, in particularly, let me put my pitch up. I'll give you a break for a second. For for men in particularly, and I tell this to a lot of I told this to my daughters, and I told this to a lot of my female friends. Men don't really and truly know how we really and truly feel about somebody until we sleep with them.
Mm.
The urge to sleep with someone makes us feel as though, oh, this is the woman, this is the girl for me, this is my heart, this is everything, right? But after you've relieved that, I
Mm.
think Juan, you had coined a phrase. I heard you say a phrase just now.
Oh boy, back to
Um,
me.
yeah. I think you call it penis insanity or something like that.
No, boy. I said, but listen, boy. Listen. If you're going to throw the camera on your boy here, right? You must get the phrase correct, man.
Yeah.
You
Correct
can't
me,
come around with no
please.
penis inside. You make it sound like you're walking around here with crazy penis, bro. That's not what I said.
Yeah, that's what it is.
I say penis control, man.
Penis control. Thank you
Get
very
here, this boy
much.
with penis inside. Where you get it from?
Yeah, I mean that's where the penis doing things and have you acting like you insane, like you ain't got no sense.
Please
But
clarify what is penis control before people think it's some type of sexual maneuver.
we might have to come back to drugs. I get that.
Let's
For
See
be
that?
real,
clear,
though.
Oh
please.
boy.
True.
You ready for bad
Okay.
reputation?
Yeah.
Okay, I coined the phrase penis control because there are a lot of thirsty ass men out here, super thirsty. And because of your thirst, man, it gets you in a shitload of problems.
Mm.
Because you think with your penis first before you think with this head. And almost 100% of the time, you think with that head down there is going to get you in potential issues. Guaranteed. So you must have control over your urges and you must have control over him down there because he can't make good decisions. I promise you that. He just wants to release.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
As
right
for
there.
we talking about grown men though. So
Yes.
there's no way a teenager is gonna
No.
accomplish that. There's no way.
Oh.
Because when you're a teenager, that head down there,
Controls the world.
that
Mm.
head down there is like flipping Professor X, all right? That head
Yeah.
down there
uh,
knows everything, sees everything, and is in charge of everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Until you at least 24, 25, 26, somewhere around there.
Yeah.
But Dyson, you made a very important point, and even still, that's still not until you're older, in my opinion.
Hmm.
But you're right. After that release, you know, when you're younger, you just want to do it again. You don't care what who the girl is. You just want to do it again. All right. But when you're older and you have to go through a little bit more, I guess, effort, commitment, whatever, to get to that point, you got to go on a date, whatever it is you got to do, and then you achieve the goal, and then you realize, hey, you know what? I could do this for a couple of years,
Yeah.
or 20, or 30.
Right.
Then then it makes sense. And it's amazing you said that because that's exactly how I felt.
Let me
Mm-hmm.
let me coin that phrase too. Let's call that post nut clarity.
Wow.
I like that.
So though, question: do you guys think masturbation can curb that?
Hmm.
Hmm.
Late in the gate with a big one. That's a straight
Yeah.
uppercut.
Um,
Because
Gotcha.
if the clarity comes after the release,
I
then
do. I
not when
do.
you're a teenager. Not when you're a teenager.
Not,
Not when you're a
yeah.
teenager. Yeah. Not when you're a
fine.
teenager.
So maybe conversations about masturbation with teenagers then.
But why is the conversation with masturbation, especially with teens, is always directed at boys?
I never said boys.
No, I'm saying, but it's usually directed at boys. Usually.
Okay.
Am I incorrect? We usually think about boys when we think about
Yeah.
masturbation and
Yeah.
teens. It's usually
Well,
Yeah.
boys.
I think about both. I think
Yeah. And I think Ants, and this is the side that we appreciate you bringing to the show right now, is the fact that it's three men. I think we automatically would think I don't. I mean, until porn, I don't think I've ever pictured what it's like for a woman to masturbate. So
okay.
that ain't even a conversation that I'm qualified to have with any of my daughters because I have no clue, and then I think we have a topic later on in the month, why most almost all men climax and most all women don't.
Yeah.
So that's a conversation that I don't think we're gonna have answer for that one. But I'm thinking about changing that date too, so that we can
Right.
accommodate a
Yeah.
female point of view. But
Yeah.
Ans,
Mhm.
when it comes to masturbation, please enlighten the young women that may watch this, or the parents of young women that may teenage girls may watch this. I mean, what is it, would masturbation, um, um, I guess, bring some clarity to the thought process and the decision making ability of a female?
In my opinion, I think I didn't have my first boyfriend until I was in college. I never felt the need to. I mean, and the only reason I finally went out to date was because my mother asked if I was a lesbian. She's like, you aren't talking to any guys, but I never felt the need to because masturbation was something that was stumbled upon. It wasn't even something that was introduced. It was like, oh, what is this? Okay, or whatnot. Because like even with my son, I remember walking in on him one day
Oh
and
man.
he immediately, like, he went into fear. He was apologizing, and I said, "Son, it's cool. I've
It's
done it in the
okay to
past."
spank the monkey, son.
you
Choke
know, So I
choke the monkey.
immediately.
Choking and spanking, can't. Come on. Choking and spanking. He
Oh
choking.
my god! No, no, no! I didn't physically see. What I saw, he was covered, but I could. I knew what
So
was
he
going
was
on.
so he was hiding the monkey from you.
Yes.
Well, yeah, you should, eh?
That's
Yes, you should.
traumatizing, bro. That's
Now,
traumatizing.
granted,
Oh
we
boy.
definitely had a conversation after that, but to make him not feel gross, I
Right.
immediately made him aware that mom's done it, and I'm sure dad has done it too. It's normal. You're growing, you're feeling things. You know what I mean? But I also feel like, and I also told him that, you know, the things that you see on what you're watching, that's usually not the way it is in real life.
Mhm.
It usually doesn't go like that.
Right.
So that brought a conversation as well. But at the same time, it just makes me wonder if when you guys say clarity comes after climax, it makes me wonder if teenagers are talked to about masturbation and that's something that they do and they're comfortable with doing. Do you think that would help them to avoid getting into, you know, tough
Yeah,
situations?
I
I
don't
think
think so. I
yeah,
don't think so.
I
No.
think I agree with Juan and Kent, because if I look back on my teenage years,
Yeah.
I was definitely younger and stronger. I was definitely like
What do you
even
mean,
like
Jackson?
Yeah, what do
I
you mean? I think, let it up. You mean young and stronger? Please
see
make us understand what you mean by young and stronger, sir.
post 40. Well, actually, this probably started last week. No, no, but after you bust a nut, like you out for at least 5-10 minutes. You understand
Oh,
what I'm saying? And
okay.
that's considering that you haven't done any other damage to yourself. I mean, if you try go MC Hammer on the mic, then you could pretty much damage the flagpole, and you need a day or two to recover.
Oh,
So it's but back in the day when I
Oh,
was young, I'm not a kid anymore.
pause.
But some days I really wish I was a kid again.
I get what you're saying. Back in the day, 4 hours makes sense.
Oh, back in the day, it didn't drop. Back in the
Today,
day, I could bust 3-4 times and it didn't drop. So
today,
so so
today,
it
that's a waste of time.
so masturbation wouldn't have stopped no show, is what I'm saying.
okay. Okay.
Got
Got
things to
it.
do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's what I'm
I
saying.
understand. I get what you're saying.
You brought up another point though, and Batman, I can throw it back at you. Selective sexuality. How do we talk to our children when it comes to them not being opposed to the type of relationships that we've been talking to on the show, which is a male female relationship. Maybe they have a different preference. How do
Yeah.
we?
Again, you have to accept that. Um,
Mhm.
my personal beliefs and my feelings will only come into the picture if they ask me. My son or my daughter.
Right.
Right.
If they ask me how I feel about it, I'm still gonna love you the same way. I'm still gonna treat you the same way. And my thing is, my problem with that is, especially at that age, it always seems to be about intercourse, about sex. And so my thing is, if it's truly not about sex,
Right.
it's really not an issue. It shouldn't be an issue, even at that age.
Right.
That should have no bearing on whether you all have sex or not,
Right.
right? Whether
Good point.
you're whatever part of the alphabet you decide to be a part of, that doesn't determine whether you're sexually active or not. The
Right.
principle is still the same.
But
Right.
let's talk about, let's be realistic and reflect back on the 13-year-old that you knew back in the day. That 13-year-old.
She was a firecracker, man. I gotta tell you, she was a firecracker.
So what if
But
what if what if what if there's a firecracker 13-year-old that didn't have no business being sexual? Because I anyway, I don't even get into that. But if a 13-year-old comes and says that a 13-year-old girl comes that I like other girls, I'm homosexual, I'm gay, or whatever the case may be, I'm a part of the LGBTQ community. How how do we then prepare that child for the wide world of sex?
so it's two things to address there. You have to address the actual sexuality issue, which is just the attraction to the same sex, or the identification as whatever they're identifying as. That's a
Mm-hmm.
separate issue from, to me, that's a separate issue from sexual activity. You
Mm-hmm.
can identify as being attracted to the same sex, that's fine. But engaging in sex is a different
Right.
to me, that's a
Yeah.
different topic, because um it doesn't matter what sex you are that you're engaging in sex with. The
Right.
principle is still the same. This is not something that you're ready for. Now, you may have eliminated the risk of pregnancy.
Right.
That's the only thing you've eliminated. Everything, all the other risks
Else
still
applies.
exist. And then you've even added a more complicated social component to it that could be even more stressful. You know what I mean? So you have to prepare them for that as well.
That would be what, ridiculed, being looked
Yeah,
at awkward, not being.
ridicule, right? Not knowing how to present yourself, or when you go out, or
Yeah,
and
not being
it's
openly
a very
accepted.
scary, from what I've, and again, that's something that that's something that we don't have a lot of it. We, our generation, don't have a lot of experience with.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of weird. We be kind of winging it, really.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? Because we don't
yeah.
know. We don't know. We just kind of talking. You know what I mean? We're just kind of speculating. We haven't experienced that. So that's one place where they would have a lot of experience and we wouldn't.
All right. So very quickly now, let me. Is there any points from either of you, from any of you, that you really wanted to reflect on that we could just touch on? I know I have to apologize for adding drugs to this topic list, and we'll probably have to, no, we'll definitely have to come back to drugs at another time because we're basically out of time now. But any other points about educating your teenagers about sex that we just want to lead into, and we could probably continue the discussion in the comments. We do invite everyone to subscribe to the Sup'm Show. Please leave your comments, and I answered a few comments earlier today, and they were very very interesting. This is the 53rd show, so there's a lot of material that you want to go back on and see exactly our point of view on a lot of life. But anything else to
Yep.
add to this, lady and gents?
No, not from me.
All right, so let's dig into final words. Um, oh, let's start with, we're gonna let Batman end the show. So we'll start with me, and then we'll go to Juan, then we'll do Ans, and then and Doctor Bizarre. Um, Sex is more than what you think it is, kids. It's it's enjoyable, and it makes you feel like you feel good. It makes you feel desired. It makes you feel powerful in a sense too, and it's a level of love. It's an intimate level of love that everyone should be able to enjoy. But there's also a lot of responsibility. There's a commitment, and in a spiritual sense, everyone that you have, I wouldn't say this, the person that you have sex with, that's a physical marriage. Okay, that's a spiritual bond. You can't ever unsex somebody. So you have to be sure that the person that you give yourself to, or the person that you allow to have you, is worthy of holding that spot in your life. Especially, I'm talking to the persons that are doing it for the first time. Make sure that person is worthy of being able to say they have, I want to be ratchet, but just make sure the person is worthy. All right, and that's my final word. So, uh, wood flooring in the building.
All right, guys. For me, final words. Sex can be complicated. It can be enjoying, but most definitely it can be dangerous also. Okay. A lot of people on their first time doing it get pregnant,
Very first
contract
time.
contract HIV,
Very first time.
very first time. Okay. And a lot of these misconceptions and myths and talks that you hear are not true. Now, when I say not true, I'm talking about the pull-out method, like Ann said. That doesn't work. As a matter of fact, my last daughter is proof of that. Okay, that does not work. Okay, and it can go so much more deeper than what people let on and what people want to acknowledge. It can put a hole on your life. When I say a hole on your life, if you're career driven, school, for every time you have a kid, in my experience, your life resets at least 2 to 5 years back. At least 2 to 5 years back. And that's granted if you have somebody to assist you with your kids. If you're someone who just get left out in the cold, say the baby daddy doesn't stick around, or say the mama is strung out on drugs and leave, either or with the kid, you know, that's a whole different situation.
Yeah.
It's even to the point now that even condoms don't work anymore because they break.
Yep.
They break, man.
Yep. Yep.
You know, and like Tyson said, it can be enjoyable, but you must understand it also comes with a great level of responsibility. And things can and will and do go wrong.
Yep.
And like Dyson also said, for every single person, whether it's be male or female, you have sex with, you carry that with you, bro.
Mm-hmm.
This is why, a lot of people don't like to talk about it. Maybe this could be another topic, but body count, that's a thing on both behalves.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
A lot of particularly females, only female, particularly females, like I said, well, it doesn't matter how many bodies I build. It does matter. It
Yeah.
matters a lot, as a matter
Yep.
of fact, because it stops you. It makes you unable to pair bond with someone. The more
It
times
makes it
you have
harder. Mm-hmm.
sex with multiple men, you have a hard time being attached to anybody. Then it just becomes a casual game.
Yeah. Yeah.
So to get back on topic, please be ready for what you're about to do. Please think about what you're about to do and be fully prepared if it goes wrong. If you're not prepared, don't do it.
Yeah.
I'm leave it there.
Bang. All right, Ants.
So my final thoughts is actually for parents, not for kids. And that is just to remember what it was like when you were younger. Always try to be a safe space for your kids where they feel that they can speak freely and open and honest about anything. Um, Try to keep a level head, even if it's not something that you plan for them. Expectations only lead to disappointment. So just try to have an open mind for your kids and try for it not to be the talk, but for it to be a continuous, conversation that just goes on and on and on, and not just one birds and the bees type of
Yeah.
conversation.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's all from me, you guys.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you seem to lost the good doc.
Oh no.
He's probably responding to the bat signal, but that's cool. I believe he's in full daddy mode
Yeah.
right now, so that's all good. This is our anniversary episode, and I appreciate everyone. Thank you. Appreciate everyone that has been with us during this year journey, and we hope that you stay with us. I'd like to thank our special guest, Ants, who is beautified almost as much as Juan beautifies our show. Yeah, take it wrong from Juan. But it's beautified,
Almost.
beautified the facial platform of this show. So thank you very much, and we do
My
hope to have
pleasure.
you as many
Appreciate that.
times as you are available.
Yay.
Yep. So make sure you subscribe, everybody, and follow us on Instagram, also on Facebook. And we will be back next week where the topic is to be or not to be a mama's boy.
That's gonna be good.
Yep. Y'all tune
It's
in.
going to be awesome. Y'all take care.
I'm Dyson Knight.
Something show. JP knows. We got Ants up there, and y'all know what it is. So take care.
Peace.
Yes.